Rob, moving on to Saturday, mentioning the Crusaders, fielding more or less their full-strength team these days, so they really need to sort of play some catch-up rugby. They're hosting the Cheetahs, and I see in terms of team changes, Cornel Hendricks gets a rest this week, but Heinrich Rousseau makes a start. That's quite exciting news.
It is. I mean, he played really well off the bench when he came on against the Sharks. Okay, the Cheetahs took a little bit of a thumping, but he did make a difference when he came on. And so if they can get sort of 70 to 80 minutes out of him this time as a starting player, he could make a big difference. We've seen him do well against New Zealand opposition before, most notably I think in the old Tri-Nations of 2009, when he was absolutely the scourge of the All Blacks on the deck. Maybe his powers are waned a little bit as he's one of those players who's been dogged by injuries over the years, lots of disruptions to his game. But whenever he comes back, he tends to come back pretty strongly. So they'll need a monster game from the little genius if they are to get an upset. I'm with Garen. I think the Crusaders are going to win it running away. You sort of sense that the floodgates might open at some point on that match, even if the Cheetahs are fairly resilient at first.
And I see also Cyril Pretorius hasn't gone on tour. And the Cheetahs have never won in Christchurch, so odds against them.
Certainly stacked against them, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to win this weekend either. The Crusaders have sort of looked at their schedule, seen Lions, Cheetahs back to back, sort of earmarked 10 points out of those two games. I think they will pick up a bonus point victory. The Cheetahs will be competitive, but they made the long flight now. They're getting over their jet lag. It's their first game. They have a poor record in Christchurch. The Crusaders have rested Richie McCaw. I think he might also be a little bit past his sell-by date. So Rousseau might have an easier time at the breakdown, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Crusaders are going to win by as many as 20 points.
Rob, next up, the Bulls host the Force. The Bulls have a great record against Australian sides at Loftus. I believe the last time an Aussie side beat them was in 2007, and it was the Force. So interesting stat there. But front row, Marcel van der Merwe, Dean Grayling are starting. Grant Hatting is in. Vic Matfield gets a rest on the bench.
Yes, Matfield, of course, able to come on as he's not out of the matchday squad. He's sort of lurking, so the big man can come on. And if there is a need for some sanity, and the Bulls for some reason are struggling, you can always rely on the old 37-year-old to sort of calm things down and to take charge of the line out, take charge of the game a bit sort of tactically if the Bulls are labouring. But I'm not saying they're going to be labouring. I tip them for quite a comfortable win, possibly by more than one score. So beyond 7 points. I'd be surprised if the result is any different at Loftus. Force, they'll have a go. They've got the old honey badger out wide. Nick Cummins will sort of try and have a few darts at the Bulls' defence on what should be a nice, hard, firm, high-felt pitch. Looks as though conditions are going to be quite dry. So hopefully we get a good game of rugby. And I hope that the Bulls sort of assert themselves, because at home, against a sort of moderate Australian team like the Force, you would hope that a sort of a top South African side would really assert itself. And I kind of suspect that they will.